The next morning came quietly, as if nothing had happened. No shouting, no smoke, no men riding through the gates, just stillness. The kind of stillness that settles after something has already been said. Thomas walked back to what remained of the barn, alone this time. Not because he wanted to be, but because some things a man must look at without witness. The beams were blackened. The ground still carried the scent of ash. He stood there longer than necessary, not studying the damage, but thinking. He did not ask who had done it, because he already knew the answer would lead nowhere. Reporting it would be a performance, a formality dressed as justice, because a man who married a black woman, a man who freed what others still called property, was already standing outside the protection of the law. Thomas bent slightly, brushing ash from his hand. His jaw tightened, not in anger, in understanding. Inside the house, life continued, because it had to. Eliza did not speak of the fire that morning. She moved through the halls the same way she always had, steady, present, unshaken. But Thomas noticed something now that he had not allowed himself to see before. She paused more, not long, not obvious, just enough, her hand resting briefly against a table before continuing. Clara watched her carefully. Jacob stayed closer to the front than usual. Ruth remained near the walls, but no longer in fear. Something in the house had changed, not broken, adjusted. Thomas returned from the fields and did not announce himself. He stood at the threshold of the room, watching her, not as a man observing order, but as a man learning to see what he had overlooked. She turned slightly, not surprised. She always knew when he was near. Eliza, soft. "You've been to the barn." Thomas, "Yes." There was a pause. Eliza, "And?" He took a breath. Thomas, "It will be rebuilt." She nodded. That was not what she had been asking. Eliza, "And the rest of it?" He held her gaze, longer this time. Thomas, quiet. "The rest of it will not be reported." No surprise in her face, only understanding. Some storms do not end. They settle, they stretch, they wait, and life moves forward anyway. By the third month, the house had found a new rhythm. The fire was no longer spoken of, but it was not forgotten. Eliza stood in the garden now. Not the hall, not the ledgers. Outside, breathing slower, moving slower, but still standing. Her hand did not move away this time. It rested fully against her stomach, not hidden, not announced, accepted. Thomas approached her quietly. No urgency, no command, just presence. "Thomas, soft. You should not be out this long." She did not look at him immediately. "Eliza, and yet I am." A small pause. Then, "Eliza, gentler. It is not weakness, Thomas." Now she looks at him. "Eliza, it is change." He studies her, and this time, he does not argue. They had survived the fire. They had survived the men who wanted them undone. But survival was never the end of the story. It was only the beginning of what they would become. Not every change in a house is spoken loudly. Some are asked for quietly, with care, with respect, with understanding already present before the words are even formed. Late afternoon settled gently across the yard. Eliza stood near the side steps, watching the workers return from the fields. Not overseeing, not correcting, just present. Jacob approached slowly, not hesitant, but respectful. He stopped a few steps away, waiting, as he always did. Eliza turned before he spoke. She had already noticed. She always did. Eliza, calm. "You've something to ask?" Jacob lowered his eyes briefly, then lifted them again, steady. Jacob, "Yes, ma'am." A pause. He chose his words carefully, not out of fear, but out of weight. "Jacob, I was hoping to move." Eliza did not interrupt. Jacob, continuing. "The old house, on the far side of the land." Silence rested between them, not uncomfortable, just full. She did not ask why, because she already knew. Her gaze shifted briefly toward the courtyard. where Ruth sat quietly beneath the shade, hands folded, still, but no longer lost. Eliza looked back at Jacob. Eliza, soft, understanding. It's quieter there. Jacob nodded once. Jacob, yes, ma'am. A breath. Jacob, she rests better when it's quiet. That was all he said. It was enough. Eliza studied him for a moment longer, not as a master would, but as someone measuring intention. Eliza, there will be no issue. Jacob's shoulders eased just slightly, but she continued. Eliza, I will still speak with Thomas. Eliza, he's gone into town. When he returns, I'll ask it proper. Jacob nodded. Jacob, thank you, ma'am. He turned to leave, then stopped, not turning back, just speaking forward. Jacob, quiet. I'll see that she's looked after. Eliza's expression softened. Eliza, I know you will. In another life, he might have said more. In another time, he might have asked differently. But this was enough, because in this house, care did not need to be declared loudly, only proven. Town had not changed, not in the way a man might notice at first glance. The same roads, the same storefronts, the same men standing in the same places, as if time itself had agreed to remain still. But something beneath it had shifted, not louder, not softer, just different. Thomas rode in alone, as he did now, not because he preferred it, but because the world made it necessary. He dismounted in front of the general store, tied his horse without speaking, and stepped inside. The door opened with the same familiar sound, but the room did not greet him the same. Once, they would have watched him openly, measured him, challenged him. Now, they simply made space. Men moved slightly out of his path, not out of respect, not out of fear, but something closer to caution. Thomas walked to the counter, placed his gloves down. Thomas, calm, controlled. Flour, salt, 2 sacks of grain. The shopkeeper nodded. No delay, no comment. But behind him, voices carried, low, careful, but not careful enough. Man, quiet, murmuring. They say it's moving through. Second man, it won't reach here. First man, it already has. Just not all at once. Thomas didn't turn, but he listened. He had learned that the truth often arrives in pieces, spoken by men who think no one important is listening. Third man, lower. If it's signed, that's it. No more owning them. Silence. A longer one. Thomas turned now. Not quickly, not aggressively. Just enough. Thomas. What's been signed? The men stiffened. The shopkeeper paused behind the counter. Shopkeeper, careful. There's talk. Legislation expanding. Shopkeeper. Certain territories already passed it. Others, preparing to. Thomas held his gaze. Thomas. Preparing to do what? Another pause. Then, shopkeeper. End it. The word settled differently than all the others. End. Not soften, not change. End. Thomas nodded once, not surprised, but not untouched. He had freed his people long before law required it, not out of politics, not out of pressure, but out of something far more dangerous, choice. Now, the world was beginning to catch up. Man behind him, quiet, uneasy. Won't change how folks feel. Another. No, but it'll change what they can do. Thomas picked up his gloves. The goods were already being prepared. No one stopped him. No one challenged him. There are moments in a man's life when the world does not confront him. It adjusts around him, and that can be more dangerous than open resistance. He stepped outside. The air felt the same, but it did not sit the same in his chest. He mounted his horse slowly, not in haste, not in anger, but in thought. If the law changed, the world would not soften overnight. It would tighten first, push back, test the edges, and Thomas knew exactly where those edges would fall. That night, the house finally slowed. Not because the world had grown kinder, but because there was nothing left to do for the day. The candles burned low, the windows opened just enough to let the night air in. Thomas sat first, boots off, waistcoat loosened, the weight of the day still on him, but quieter now. Eliza joined him not long after. No rush, no announcement. She moved carefully now, not weak, but aware of herself in a way she had not been before. She settled beside him. Then slowly, both of them leaned back against the pillows, not facing each other at first, just lying in the same space, breathing the same quiet. Eliza, soft after a moment. "How was town?" Thomas let out a slow breath, eyes still on the ceiling. Thomas. "The same." He paused. Then, "Thomas. Or, at least, it looks the same." That made her turn slightly toward him. "Eliza. And the rest of it?" He was quiet for a moment, choosing his words. "Thomas. Nothing has changed. Not where it shows." A breath. "Thomas. But the talk is there. Rumors." In that time, they did not shout. They traveled, quietly, from one mouth to another, until they became something real. Eliza, quiet. "What kind of talk?" Thomas turned his head now, looking at her. "Thomas. Freedom." "Thomas. They're saying it may not be a matter of choice much longer." Eliza held his gaze, not surprised, not hopeful, just steady. "Eliza. And do they believe it?" Thomas. "They don't know what to believe." A faint shift in his expression. Thomas. "But they know something is changing." Silence settled again. But it was different now, heavier, full of thought. Eliza shifted slightly on the bed, one hand resting over her stomach, still natural, still unspoken. Then, "Eliza, gentle. Jacob spoke with me today." Thomas glanced at her, not tense, just listening. Thomas. "What about?" Eliza. "He asked to move." She paused. Eliza. "The old house, on the far side of the land." Thomas didn't respond immediately. He understood the place. He understood the distance. Thomas. "And you?" Eliza. "I told him I would ask you." A small silence. Then, "Eliza," soft, knowing. "It's for her." Thomas exhaled quietly, not surprised. Thomas. "She's quieter now." Eliza. "Yes." A beat. Eliza. "And he is steadier with her than most would be." Thomas turned slightly toward her now. Thomas. "You think it's wise?" Eliza did not answer immediately. She thought, as she always did. Eliza. "I think peace comes where it can." She paused. Eliza. "And if it finds them there, we should not stand in the way of it." Thomas watched her, really watched her, not as the woman he protected, but as the one who understood what he often could not name. He nodded once. Thomas. "Then they may have it." A small breath left her, not relief, just confirmation. They fell quiet again, side by side. There was a time when every decision in that house had been about control. Now, it was about something else, something quieter, something harder to hold. Trust. Thomas reached over, not speaking, just resting his hand lightly over hers, over the life she carried. He did not say it out loud, but it was there, in the stillness between them. They were no longer just surviving the world. They were preparing for what would come after it. Time does not always announce its passing. It settles. It softens what once felt sharp. It reshapes what once felt uncertain. 6 months had moved through the house, not loudly, but completely. The house no longer carried the same tension, not because the world had changed overnight, but because they had learned how to live inside it. Eliza moved differently now, no longer measured in hesitation, but in fullness. Her presence filled the space in a way that could not be ignored. She stood in the main hall, one hand resting fully against her stomach. No longer hidden, no longer subtle. She was visibly pregnant now. Clara no longer asked before giving instruction. The house ran with rhythm. not control. Jacob came and went from the far house now, the old abandoned place no longer abandoned, smoke rising from its chimney in the early mornings, and Ruth no longer sat staring into distance. She still spoke little, but when she did, her voice did not disappear halfway through the sentence. Some things did not need to be spoken to be understood. Jacob had not asked again. He simply moved, and Thomas had allowed it. The far house held a different kind of quiet now. Not empty, not broken, just theirs. Ruth sat by the doorway, sunlight touching her face, not hiding, not shrinking. Jacob worked nearby, not watching her constantly anymore, because he no longer feared she would disappear. Ruth, soft, clearer than before. "It's quieter here." Jacob nodded. "Jacob, yes." A small pause. "Ruth, I like it." That was enough. Thomas no longer watched her with fear. He watched her with understanding. They walked together more slowly now, not because they had to, but because they chose to. In the garden, where once they spoke of survival, now they spoke of what was coming. "Thomas, gentle. You've done more than I asked of you." Eliza looked at him, a quiet smile forming. "Eliza, you asked me to stand." She paused. "Eliza, I simply did not sit." Thomas let out a soft breath, almost a laugh. He reached for her hand, not to steady her, but to share the moment. The world beyond the gates had not softened, but it had shifted. There were fewer visits, fewer men testing the door, fewer whispers carried on open wind. Not acceptance, not yet, but something closer to distance, and sometimes distance is the first form of peace. They had survived the fire. They had survived the world pressing against them. Now, they stood at the edge of something else. Not conflict, not survival, but beginning. There is a kind of waiting that no one prepares you for. Not the waiting for danger, not the waiting for news, the waiting for something you cannot control. The house had grown quieter again, not because anything was wrong, but because everyone could feel it coming. Eliza no longer moved through the house the same way. She still gave instruction, still watched everything, still led. But now, she paused, more often, longer. She stood by the window that afternoon, one hand resting fully against her stomach, not thinking, just feeling. Outside, life continued, but inside her, everything was changing. Thomas had learned many things in that house: control, restraint, patience. But this was different. There was nothing to fix, nothing to protect her from, nothing to fight. He found her in the sitting room later that evening. She had not called for him, but he knew where she would be. "Thomas, gentle. You've been standing too long." Eliza glanced at him, not defensive, not tired of the concern, just aware of it. "Eliza, I was listening." A small pause. "Thomas, to what?" She looked down slightly, then back up. "Eliza, soft, to how quiet everything has become." That stayed with him, because he heard it too. The days were not filled with events. They were filled with moments. Thomas began noticing things he once would have missed. The way she held the edge of the table before sitting. The way she closed her eyes when the child moved. The way her breath changed, just slightly, before she spoke. He did not interrupt those moments anymore. He stayed in them. One evening, he reached for her hand. Not to steady her, not to guide her, just to be there. "Thomas, quiet. Does it frighten you?" He paused. Eliza did not answer immediately. "Eliza, no." Another pause. Then, "Eliza, honest. But it humbles me." That answer stayed between them, not heavy, just real. Even the house seemed to wait. Clara checked in without asking questions. Jacob stayed closer at night, not out of fear, but out of habit. Ruth moved quietly through her tasks, but she looked at Eliza differently now, not as someone distant, but as someone carrying something sacred. And in that house, for the first time, everything felt aligned, not easy, not certain, but ready. It was deep into the night, when the house was at its quietest. No movement in the halls, no voices, just the soft sound of wind against the windows and the slow rhythm of sleep. Eliza stirred, not suddenly, not in fear, just discomfort. Her eyes opened slowly. She lay still for a moment, waiting for it to pass. It didn't. She shifted carefully, one hand pressing lightly against the bed as she sat up. Thomas didn't wake. Not yet. It was a small thing, the kind of thing that happens without thought. She needed to relieve herself. She stood slowly, measured, careful with her balance now. The floor was cool beneath her feet, the room dim, lit only by dying candlelight. She took a step, then stopped. A warmth, unexpected, sudden, spreading. She looked down, and in that quiet room, without panic, without confusion, she understood. Eliza, soft, steady. Thomas, not loud, not urgent, but enough. Thomas woke instantly, not fully aware, but aware enough. Thomas, half rising. What is it? She did not move, did not rush. Eliza, calm, certain. My water has broken. Silence, just one breath, and everything changed. There was no shouting, no sudden panic, because Eliza did not panic, and Thomas, for all that he feared, had learned something in loving her. He stood, moved to her, not rushing, not fumbling. Thomas, low, steady. I'll call Clara. She nodded once, and as he moved toward the door, the house, once again, began to wake. The night did not rush her. It held her. Each breath became work. Each moment stretched longer than the last. Eliza did not cry out loudly, but the strain showed, in her face, in her hands, in the way she held herself through it. Clara stood steady at the foot of the bed, grounded, certain. Another servant stayed beside Eliza's head, cool cloth in hand, wiping away the heat, the effort, the weight of it all. This was not chaos, this was endurance. Outside, Thomas walked, back and forth, again and again. Not from impatience, but because stillness felt impossible. He had faced men without fear, but this asked something else of him, to wait. And then, after the longest moments, it came, a cry, small, but enough to change everything. The door opened, and this time, it was not tension that stepped through, it was life. Even in that moment, the world did not wait. A quiet knock came again. This time, Thomas stepped out. Jacob stood there, Ruth just behind him. Not urgency, not fear, something else. Jacob, low, steady. There's been word from town. Thomas held his gaze. Jacob, it's been declared. He paused. Jacob, all of them, free. Inside that room, a life had just begun. Outside that door, the world had changed. Time did what it always does. It moved forward, not in leaps, not in noise, but in quiet days that slowly became something new. The house still stood, the land still stretched beyond it, but nothing about it felt the same. Thomas and Eliza stand together on the veranda, side by side, not as people holding on anymore, but as people who have arrived. No fear in their posture, no tension in their silence, just presence. Eliza rests her hand lightly along the railing, Thomas beside her, not watching the world, but watching what they've made. Below them, a different world was already unfolding. A boy ran across the yard, free in a way his parents never had been, 7 years old, a child of two worlds, and belonging fully to both. Beside him, Jacob and Ruth's daughter, 5 years old, laughing without hesitation, no distance between them, no hesitation, no lines drawn, just children. They did not speak, they did not need to, because everything they had fought, everything they had endured, stood right there in front of them, not perfect, not untouched by the world, but free. Thomas glanced toward Eliza, just briefly. She didn't look back. She was already watching the future. The world did not change all at once, but here, on this land, it began.
Some stories are meant to be remembered. Thomas and Eliza didn't just survive, they built something lasting. Thank you for being part of their journey.